Oh, that is too expensive. Do you have a great cheap alternative? What is a great cheapie that goes in this direction? Those are some questions I get asked a lot of times, mostly on TikTok, but it happened on Instagram as well, and sometimes on YouTube here, I believe once or twice, that's not often. But I thought, why not take the opportunity and make a great cheap alternative fragrance video, so that you poor cheap fucking bastards out there can smell as good as I do. Did I offend you? Well, I don't give a fuck. So today I've got some great fragrances behind me, one a little bit more expensive and one little bit cheaper alternative, or at least a cheap alternative. It's not necessarily going to be clones or stuff like that, and unfortunately I need to talk about some fragrances that I don't have in my possession today, and that is pretty simple, because if I have a great cheap alternative, why the fuck would I run away to the store and buy the expensive version of it? So without further ado, let's dive into it. Hello, my name is Tim and welcome to another edition of Smelly Sweet. So we're gonna dive into this. I don't want this video to be too long, and I feel I have a couple of rants coming as well. So the first one we're gonna talk about is Zara Extreme 6.0. Can you do a cheap alternative video without including something from Zara? This has bergamot, pear, iris, leather, amber, so it's iris leather fragrance most of all. But some advice, it's a great alternative. I'm coming to that soon. Advice about Zara fragrances: stay away from the freshies at Zara. Why? Well, they don't last long. In the dry down, they all have that same smell of cheap, warm copy paper. But Zara Extreme 6.0 is a great alternative to all those designer fragrances out on the market with iris. Keep that in mind, Zara Extreme 6.0, but this gives me a reason to rant a little bit about iris. I often ask myself, when did it become popular for a man to smell like my mother's makeup bag? I just don't get it. No, we have a bunch of those designer fragrances out there with iris. We have the Dior Homme line, we have the Givenchy line, the Gentleman line, we have Prada Luna Rosa Black, we have the new Armani Code contains it, we have Le Mal Le Parfum. Maybe they should have named that Le Mal Le Bitch. Oh, did I hurt you, Punani? It wasn't my meaning. Oh, I'm just kidding. Or am I? Did I offend you? Well, this was not my meaning, but grow up, Harry. That's right. You wear iris fragrances, so you can grow up. I get it. We all have different tastes and different preferences when it comes to fragrances. In my case, it's just that I think that iris reminds me of my mother's makeup bag, and for that reason I feel it's way too feminine for me. But I still question myself, when did it become popular for a man to have the fragrance note iris on their skin? I just personally don't get it. But on the other hand, I do wear some feminine leaning fragrances myself, so I guess it's just personal preferences and very subjective thoughts, but that is my thoughts and my feelings about iris fragrances. But I want to take this in another direction as well, because another thing that happened to me on TikTok and Instagram is, can you please rate my collection? I've never done that before. Maybe I should do it. But anyway, sometimes I take a look at those collections and I see Dior Homme Intense, I see Givenchy Gentleman EDP, I see Le Mal Le Parfum, I see Armani Code, I see Dior Sauvage, Versace de Bleu, Bleu de Chanel, and I think to myself, why the fuck are you buying all those fragrances that are vibing together, that all have a similar vibe? No, they are not the same, but they give the similar vibe, if you do understand what I mean here. So instead of buying all those designers, go for maybe one or two of them and one of the other, then you could afford a great niche fragrance. No, I get it. You're watching Jeremy Fragrance, you're watching Big Bed's business, and you want the collections they are having. But remember, it is just business for them. Jeremy Fragrance, Big Bed business, well, it's even in his fucking name, business. It's business for them. They got them sent, the most of them, and they have bought some as well. But keep that in mind, it is business. So if you're not in that category, you need to be a little bit more selective. And when you say, no, I won't buy that niche fragrance, it's too expensive, well, you have spent all your fucking money on the same vibing designer fragrances. So, rant over, I hope. Let's move on to our next cheap alternative. When I say think of the best gym fragrance, which fragrance comes to your mind? Chanel Allure Spot, as most of the people do, but take a closer look at Missoni Wave. These two, They are the same juice. I can't tell them apart from the opening, the mid, the dry down, the projection, the longevity. They are the same. I just feel that Missoni Wave went into the same factory as Chanel Allure Homme Sport and picked up their batches. No, half the price, about half the price, so Missoni Wave would be my recommendation instead of Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Fucking hell, I thought I was done ranting. The next expensive fragrance we're gonna find an alternative for is Parfum de Marly's Layton. And it is Niche Roll's Vanilla Oud. Now, for you people who has been following me for a while, you do know that I do like the brand Niche Roll, and they have sponsored me a lot, but I wouldn't recommend the fragrances if I didn't think they were good. Now, Niche Roll's Vanilla Oud is a little bit more of a mature version of Parfum de Marly's Layton, but it's not as old as Layton Exclusive. And this comes in between Layton Exclusive and Layton, so it's a good recommendation. But now it's time for me to rant a little bit about Layton Exclusive. As I say, Layton is a player, he is a playboy, he gets the compliments, he gets the heads to turn, and he takes fucking advantage of it. But with Layton Exclusive, well, you got a different story. Layton Exclusive is an old man that still thinks he's a fucking player. So let me tell a little bit of a story here. The wearer of Layton Exclusive is a man 35 years and up. He's still single, he still lives with his mom, and every single night he goes out on the pool and he goes with his Layton Exclusive and think, I'm gonna be so fucking lucky. But every single night he returns back home to his mother's place all alone, and the only thing left for him to do is to polish his little bottle. The next cheapie is Absolute by Elite Gentleman from Avon. Now, this is one of those cases where I don't have the expensive alternative, and that is Gucci Intense Oud. They are very close, very similar in my opinion. Gucci Intense Oud is accused of being similar to Black Afghano. I don't really think they are that close, but this is close to Gucci Intense Oud. And if you live in Europe, you can pick up this for around 10 euros at Noteno, and that is a fucking bargain. That's a fucking steal, because you get 10 hours longevity, you get a great strong projection, 2 to 3 sprays take you through the whole day, and yeah, it's a beautiful one. But how does it smell? And well, let's say not much oud, but a lot of vanillic amber in this bottle. And just look at the color of the juice as well. Just a stunning creation that you can pick up for a bargain in Europe. Next up, we have the 2 best coffee fragrances this world has ever seen. It's a question often asked, which is the best coffee fragrance out on the market? You don't need to look anymore. Akro Awake, Theodoros Galatinis, Coffee Addict are the best by far. True black espresso. It's so beautiful. No, this one comes for 30 ml for 70 euros and 100 ml for 140 euros. 50 ml for 45 euros. You judge which one you want to buy. I just say you can't go wrong with either one of them, but Theodoros Galatinis Coffee Addict is the best deal. Fucking hell, another fucking rant. I guess the 2 of the most well-known similar fragrances is Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo and Roja's Moustache. Now, these 2 are so similar. They are so close that I really struggle to tell them apart. Now, I see so many. Now the rant is coming. I just feel my blood is starting to race to my head here. I see so many fucking besserwissers out there saying that they are not similar, there are big differences, they're not even the same notes listed on Fragentica. Well, boo-hoo fucking you. Who the fuck do you think you are? Fucking besserwisser. Fuck. Don't believe the nose, believe your fucking nose. That is what this is about. And if you believe your fucking nose, you can tell these both apart. Just as simple. How many fucking times do you believe that the companies deliver the notes they use to Fragentica as it is? And otherwise, Fragentica just making things up. So, these are close. The only small little difference is in the dry down. This one has a kind of a weird salty vanillic sweetness. This has more of a vanillic sweetness. Sweet vanillic sweetness from the amber. So, they are close, and in my opinion, if I knew how good this one was, I wouldn't have bought Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo. Oh, please let the rants be fucking over. The next 2 fragrances I'm gonna talk about, I did talk about in my latest video, 16 expensive fragrances that I would consider to buy again. And one of those was Roja Enigma. I ended up with not thinking to buy this one again. because I found Frank Bouclet's tobacco. Frank Bouclet's tobacco a 10 out of a 10 fragrance in my opinion. Now, Enigma is well known for its Coca-Cola opening. You don't find the exact same opening in this one. They are not that similar, they're not that close, but you get a similar vibe. Here you have ginger and plum in the opening that gives it a fizzy, sparkling opening. Above all those sweetness, tobacco, cloves, just a fucking beautiful creation. And I personally don't understand why this isn't getting hyped in the community every single fucking day, because it has the scent, it has the longevity, 8 to 10 hours, it has not the strongest projection, but it couldn't project that much either, because then it would choke people around you, and it's so fucking heaven, nosegasm. Frank Bouclet's tobacco, my god, you need to try it. So we are coming to an end here, and I've still got some fragrances to show you that are great cheap alternatives to expensive ones, but the one I'm going to talk about right now is, well, it doesn't manufacturing anymore. And that is Cognac Café by Galleria Parfums. Cognac Café by Galleria Parfums is so fucking close to Kilian's Black Phantom that I struggle to tell them apart. Maybe in the dry down I get a little bit more heavy caramel thing out of Black Phantom. But that is the only one. So why do I suggest this as a great cheap alternative option to Kilian Black Phantom when it's not manufactured anymore? Well, if you're quick and fast, you can still find it on eBay, Facebook groups for around $50, and that is a fucking bargain for that one. But I feel that soon the prices might go up because Galleria Parfums has just sold out on this one, and now people are kind of collecting them to be able to sell them for a higher price later on. So $50, find them, because it is a damn look, 100 milliliters for $50 of that juice. When it's compared to be that similar to Black Phantom from Kilian, you just can't go wrong. Now a little bit more controversial. This is Serge of Renaissance, a great citrus fragrance that won prizes for being one of the best citrus releases. Can't remember which year it was, but forget about it. And take a look at Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever. Now, Serge of Renaissance is one of my wife's favorite fragrances, so I personally put this in a unisex box. I think it's so fucking unisex that everybody can wear it, but you have a bunch of citrus in the opening. But if you want a little bit more masculinity to your scent profile, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever is a great alternative. The grapefruit you use in Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever is so fucking damn good. And I've seen people say, well, if I want to smell like grapefruit juice, I just go to the fridge and pour some grapefruit juice over me. Well, boo-hoo fucking you again. A grapefruit juice ain't gonna last 8 hours on your skin. This one does, with a lovely vetiver in the dry down as well. So Light Blue Forever, I'm sticking with it. Now, can the copy be better than the original? Yes, it can. So I saved the best for last, and that is Tom Ford's Oud Wood. And Agar Oud from Niche Fraud just simply is the best alternative to Oud Wood. So yes, the original can be surpassed by the copies. In this case, Agar Oud is just better. Fucking hell, I thought I was done ranting. Hear me out. I'm gonna talk about the differences first. This Agar Oud has 2 hours better longevity. It has a bigger sillage, or at least I suspect it has a bigger sillage, because Agar Oud has gained me some compliments. I've never gained compliments from Tom Ford's Oud Wood. And it has a better accord. Now the rants are starting to come. Many people refer to Oud Wood as a synthetic mess. Well, fucking hell, people, get over yourself. How many companies today doesn't use synthetic notes in their fragrances? So if you're dissing a fragrances because it smells synthetic to you, please explain why. Don't just flog it off as a synthetic mess without explaining why you think it is synthetic. Share your fucking thoughts. Don't just say what you think people want to hear. Share your thoughts. Why do you think it smells synthetic? No, rant over. In this case, Agar Oud uses a better accord of oud because you get that slight barnyard feeling in the opening just for 2 to 3 minutes before it's gone, and it just gives the wearing of Agar Oud from Niche Fraud a completely different experience than to wear Tom Ford's Oud Wood. No, that was the last one. I'm sorry for if it was too long video today, too much ranting, but if you stick this long to this video, a big fucking thank you. And for the peoples out there that don't like me, that think I'm a fucking nobody, a fucking person taking too much air from you, well, piss off. And to the rest of you, I see you around.